Founded in 1729, Arlington Street continues today as a gathering place for progressive people of faith in the greater Boston area and beyond. We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.
I would like to report out from the middle of a story about keeping going. My husband and I are potty training our toddler. And there's a lot of things that I've wanted to quit in my life, but there's nothing that I've wanted to quit like I want to quit potty training. And there's a ton of wisdom in quitting, don't get me wrong. The Christian queer podcast host and author Glennon Doyle is famous for saying, "I quit every day. Quitting is my favorite. Every single day I quit, I go to sleep, I wake up, and I begin again. Begin and quit every day." But this is not a message about quitting. It is a message about keeping going. And as far as I know, it's not possible to fully quit potty training. We could, Glennon Doyle style, quit and begin again tomorrow or in a week or a month or even 3 months, but at some point, she must be potty trained. And we actually did quit for a big chunk of time. We had a stretch without daycare, and we decided to go for it. And our dear, beloved toddler, she went to the bathroom while playing with Legos. She went to the bathroom while painting with her cousin. She went to the bathroom on her grandfather's shoes, and did not seem to show any awareness that this was in fact not the goal. And so we gave it a good old quit. And then some months later, our daycare was closed again, and we decided to try again. If you have ever recently helped potty train a small person, you maybe have heard that there's this method where you just let them run around with no pants on, and you watch their cues very carefully, and somehow magically, after 3 days of no pants and watching them, they're potty trained. If you have had that experience, I am incredibly happy for you. That is not what happened to our child. Without going into a lot of detail, we did many rounds of the no pants and the blah blah blah, and still she was going to the bathroom at the top of the slide, at the playground. And then again, the same trip to the playground at the top of the slide. How is this possible? There are, of course, so many things that are higher stakes, more heartbreaking things than a little developmentally appropriate pee on the carpet. In my own life, there have been many, many keeping goings during rejection in a job search, the keeping goings of staying in relationship through conflict, staying in leadership when organizations struggle. Of course, the keeping going of moving this sacred and breaking world toward more justice, despite overwhelming violence and suffering. Joanna Macy, the great Buddhist theologian, facilitator, teacher, and writer who died not too long ago and who translated those words by Rilke in our chalice lighting, devoted so much of her work to what allows us to keep going. You might have heard of it. She called it the work that reconnects. I was very lucky years ago to attend a workshop with her, and I honestly think I wasn't really ready for it. I couldn't really absorb her teachings. So simple, but lifelong. Her words, "The biggest gift you can give is to be present, absolutely present. When you're worrying about whether you're hopeful or hopeless, pessimistic or optimistic, who cares?" She said, "The main thing is that you're showing up, that you're here, and that you're finding ever more capacity to love in this world." I've learned some lessons about keeping going from potty training and other things that I haven't really wanted to do, but did anyways. And this wisdom from Joanna Macy, I think, is one of the biggest lessons. To be absolutely present. because it really is ruminating on the past. Did we start at the wrong time? Should we have done the thing with the no pants and the paying attention, or should we have just done old-fashioned, like you get an M&M every time you do it, you get a sticker? Or worrying about the future. How long will this last? This part where everywhere we go might turn into a whole accident situation that makes me doubt my ability to keep going. I very clearly remember asking my midwife toward the end of labor with this very toddler, how many more pushes? And she said 10. And I told her very clearly and loudly, I could not do 10 more pushes. And my dear friend and fellow Unitarian Universalist minister, Annie Gonzalez, who was present, glared at our very lovely midwife and said, it doesn't matter how many more, push the push you're pushing. Be present. The second lesson of keeping going that I've learned from potty training and other things is to laugh. And by laugh, I actually mean, if it's at all possible, get some kind of distance and perspective on the situation. I recently went on a hike where I literally started by getting totally lost. I could not find the first turn on the path, despite supposedly very clear written instructions in a guidebook. And a nearby sign informed me that I was on video because I was near private property. And so I imagined someone somewhere monitoring these cameras, watching me walk back and forth over literally the same 5 feet of dirt road, looking for the beginning of this magical hike. I finally did find the trail another 40 feet past where the very clear guidebook told me it would be. But for some reason, instead of feeling mad at myself, mad at the guidebook author, frustrated for wasting time, judging myself for my poor navigation skills, for some reason, I could see the hilarity of starting by getting lost and laugh at myself. And I think it's because I could get a little perspective, imagining someone watching me pacing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. My third lesson is, don't go it alone if you can. My husband, Oscar, and I have never made so many faces at each other as we have during this potty training ordeal. We make faces across the room at each other when she says she doesn't have to go, but she clearly does. We make faces when she has a very, very messy accident that we know was totally preventable, like she recently did in an extraordinarily lovely art gallery. Of course, sometimes we have no choice but to keep going alone. Sometimes the path we're on is one that is unaccompanied. But sometimes we have the gift of choosing companionship and solidarity. We can choose to make faces at each other as we dive for the proverbial wipes and clean clothes, acknowledging together what is challenging and that we're committed to keeping going together. It's the reason that while I know we know a lot about how to fight for liberation and freedom for all people, I know we don't have one strategy or answer for fighting fascism or healing the world, but still we show up. We go to marches, we go to Pride, we go to meetings, we go to singing resistance gatherings, we talk to our people so that we don't go it alone. And that's why we're here together in person or on Zoom, so that we don't go it alone. And the fourth lesson of the keeping going, very often we don't actually get to know how it ends, and we just keep going anyways. Another way of saying one of our Unitarian Universalist shared beliefs, that revelation is not sealed, that the truth is always emerging. I don't actually know when my dear toddler will be able to use the bathroom reliably without accident. I've been lucky to be a community organizer, someone who gets to do the work of justice as my job for more than 15 years. I've worked with young people, with people of faith, worked on raising the minimum wage, on stopping pipelines and police murders, and for the past 7 years, a focus on stopping deportations. And during those many years, there have been many moments where I have felt like I don't know how to keep going. And many moments, especially over the past year and a half, where there seems to be a heart-exploding amount of suffering, too much to keep going. And then, of course, there is not only the life of the world and how it intersects with our particular lives, but there's also our personal struggles, so many reasons to give up. Words from the great social movement theorist and activist Grace Lee Boggs from our reading. I'm often asked what keeps me going after all these years. I think the realization is there's no final struggle. Love isn't about what we did yesterday. It's about what we do today, tomorrow, and the day after. I can't tell you how to potty train a toddler, and I can't tell you how to stop a deportation, especially now. But what I can tell you is that I'm willing to try, and I know many of you are trying. To be present now, and to try to not get lost with the what if we had or what if we never. To try to laugh when I can, and cry and rage when that's more appropriate. And to go together, even when it could feel easier to isolate and separate. I'm a volunteer with the Boston Immigration Justice Accompaniment Network that some of you might also be connected to. And not too long ago, one of our co-founders, Sarah Kinoski, died of cancer. Some of you might have even gotten an email from her over the years or know her in other ways. For years, she coordinated immigration court accompaniment, so people who were going to immigration court and did not want to go alone did not have to. She recruited host homes for newly arrived immigrants in her free time, all while loving her family and leading Harvard's art galleries. She was known for her persistence, her wit, her sharp style, her generous hospitality, and her incredibly organized spreadsheets. At her memorial, loved ones shared how even through her illness, when asked if she needed anything, she would often say what she needed was to be connected to the work of justice. She would do data entry or court accompaniment virtually, wrote emails advocating for those fighting deportations from the waiting room of Dana-Farber. And when asked in her last days if she had a message for us, for the still living, she said, "Keep going." Sarah raised 2 amazing now adult children, and I think she would have had amazing advice about potty training. I wish I could ask her now, how did you work and parent and organize and be a partner and tend to your own spirit? And how did you do it when you were sick? How did you keep going? I don't get to know exactly what she would have said, though she said it with her life. I'm sure it would have been pithy and true. Rilke's words, "Just keep going. Don't let yourself lose me. Nearby is the country they call life. Give me your hand. Keep going." So here we are in a middle. And a funny thing is that very recently, my daughter has become a little more potty trained. A little more, we're seeing the end of the keeping going. And of course, now we have another baby who's 7 months old. And I realize we're gonna have to potty train her too. So we're back in the middle again of a million different journeys. The wisdom says, be present, laugh if you can, go together. And we don't know how it ends, but we commit to see it through. Just keep going. give me your hand and let me know if you have any potty training advice for round 2. Maybe you can say, keep going to yourself today, or maybe that's too hard. Maybe it's easier to say it to a loved one or a stranger or someone here or in the Zoom room after worship. The ancestors say, keep going. Joanna Macy says, keep going. Grace Lee Boggs says, keep going. People fighting for freedom from within ice cages say, keep going. The poet Rilke says, keep going. My friend Sarah says, keep going. Love is the spirit of this congregation. May love hold us until we meet again. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. Amen.
Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine.
We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.